This is Gareth Southgate, and this is the Three Lions podcast.
The next station is Wembley Park. Doors will open on the left-hand side. Change for the Metropolitan line. Exit for Wembley National Stadium.
Welcome to episode 50 of the Three Lions podcast. My name's Russell Osborne. I hope you enjoyed the previous episode where I was joined by Glenn Isherwood as we look back on the old Wembley Stadium. Now, in a strange twist of fate, you find me at Wembley Way, where those twin towers were, now replaced by the large white arch that dominates the skyline in this part of London. Bobby Moore standing beneath it. I'll tell you why I'm here in a moment, but what's been going on recently. So Southampton was announced as the venue for Kosovo at home in September. Tickets have since gone on sale and they are available on the FA.com. Phil Neville announced his Lionesses squad for the World Cup in France. I've got a Lionesses podcast up my sleeve, so we'll reflect on that nearer the time. But I thought, what a clever way all the players were released to the public on Twitter by some very famous people and some Radio 1 presenters that I've not heard of. Both the under-17 boys and girls have been in action. Steve Cooper's boys were over in Ireland in the European Championships. They began with a 1-1 draw against France. Arsenal's Sam Greenwood with a first-half penalty before France equalised late on. Unfortunately, the next game saw them go down 5-2 to Holland. This despite twice going ahead. They then went and beat Sweden 3-1, but with France beating Holland, progression was out of their hands, leaving the boys coming home with their heads held high. And the under-17 girls are looking to make it to the knockout stages of the under-17 championships. They were in Bulgaria, initially beaten 4-0 by Germany. Gemma Granger's girls fought back to beat Austria 2-1, and then they went to beat the Dutch girls 2-0. And the Toulon tournament returns for the under-20 Young Lions soon. England have been drawn against Japan, Portugal and Chile. And that kicks off on the 1st of June when we face Japan in France. Now obviously, we have 4 sides in European finals this year. Liverpool and Tottenham contest the Champions League final 6 days before we face Holland in the Nations League. Now I've read various threads on whether this is a good thing or not from an English perspective. Gareth Southgate has gone on record saying his preparations have been made a little more complicated. But this is a challenge we have to deal with as a group of staff. Of course, there is a vast amount of players that could be affected. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Joe Gomez, Jordan Henderson, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Danny Rose, Kieran Trippier, Eric Dyer, Dele Alli, Harry Winks, Harry Kane, and then of course Chelsea, Ross Barkley and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. And we'll just have to wait until Gareth announces that squad and see how it all pans out. I'm hoping that it'll all be a positive, but there's always that possibility of an injury, isn't there? I'll have a Nations League preview podcast. I'm hoping to get that out, obviously, before the tournament begins. Right, back to why I'm here in HA9. If you want to follow England, home or away, you'll need a ticket, and generally the only way to get one is to be part of either the England Supporters Club or the England Supporters Travel Club. They are the ones who are tasked with making it easier for us to follow the Three Lions, and they've been kind enough to give me some time for a chat to find out what's involved. So I'm now inside Wembley, and I'm inside one of the boxes that looks out onto the Wembley pitch, glorious Wembley pitch, obviously being prepared in anticipation of the cup final at the weekend between Manchester City and Watford. And I'm pleased to say that Richard Weeks from the England Supporters Club has joined me. Richard.
Hello, nice to be here. Well, actually, I work here, so, yeah.
Nice office.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'd say thank you for taking the time to join us. I'd like to generally ask about the Travel Club, the Supporters Club. I wonder if you can give us an overview of it.
Well, I suppose, I'm sure a lot of members will know, it's sort of had many guises since around about 1990, a multitude of different names. I'm far too young and I've not been here long enough to remember all of them. But yeah, so it started around 1990, sort of took off around Euro 96, various reasons. And yeah, it's sort of had its peaks and its lows and things like that, but ultimately, we are kind of here to try and represent the England supporters and try and do as best we can by them.
And you personally, what's your position within the organisation?
Technically, I'm a membership officer. I'm not quite sure, what that means. But my role really is there's three of us within the team. So there's the boss, which is Harpreet, which you'll know from the ticket collection points. There's myself and there's Lauren as well. So sort of our roles are really dealing with specifically around away games. There's a lot of work around sort of ticket allocations, security, actually receiving and allocating the tickets, getting ticket collection points in place, the travel guides, the information we send out. I'd say that's the primary role that we have. And of course, tournaments are like the beast of away games on steroids. So it's we start focusing on tournaments a lot longer than you'd think, and pretty much straight after the UEFA Nations League, it's right into Euro 2020. So there's never really sort of a low moment where you're sort of sitting on your twiddling your thumbs. But from an away game perspective, there's a lot of organisation for us to put in place for the supporters, and obviously there's a lot of liaising with local FAs and local police and the FA security team. From a home game, it's slightly more relaxed because obviously sort of other departments take over. But we always have sort of competition winners and kids and mascots that we try and look after, make sure they have a good time, and a lot of logistical nightmares trying to get people from different seats to pitch side on match days and things like that. But and me personally, I work closely with the England Block 109 as well, trying to give them as much sort of freedom as possible, home and away, to sort of decorate Wembley, as it were. Yeah,
and they do a good job. And I think, that's a surprise to me that you say only three people are part of the organisation.
So it's three of us that our primary work is on England Supporters Club and England Supporters Travel Club. And then there's the wider sort of we're technically filed in marketing, because it's sort of, where do you put England Sports Clubs? It's a difficult one to catalogue.
Yeah.
But the wider team obviously having put on everything we do, but we're the three that sort of drive the sort of the key sort of areas of England Sports Club.
So any communication, website, etc. Tickets will come from you guys.
So interestingly, on tickets for home games, we will always try and get a good deal for travel club members. So like discounts or whatnot. Obviously, we have somewhat a seat at the table in that discussion, but of course, there's far many other people that and reasons and things like that sort of deal with that side of things. So we always do ask to try and get the best deal. So the last two games we've had £20 tickets in the home end for travel club members, is because we always ask those questions.
So who are you asking?
It's more of a round table discussion. There's a lot of heads of involved, and of course all football clubs have these discussions around ticket prices and whatnot. But we always table a request, to try and get that, because for us, we want the most loyal supporters to be rewarded consistently. So and I like to think that we get a lot of those sort of deals in terms of pricing on the table, and hopefully we'll get as many as possible.
I know you've very recently had the travel club members ticket period sale open before a general sale, which is that a recent thing that's come about through that?
Do you mean, so like travel club and then free members?
Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be that way a while ago. I'm not sure when my boss tells me it did. But yeah, I mean, it was more, so we had various focus groups last year and year before, and we always tried to ask a sort of core of similar questions to try and get an understanding of it. And then we put the minutes on the website, and we try and gauge comments and read comments and see how people react to what the focus group came on, see if there's like a consensus. And it became apparent that people were asking for it on a regular basis to have like a separate travel club sale. So we did it. I believe the first game was Italy. I might be wrong. Italy at home, I think. I'm not sure. But yeah, basically it's to try and allow supporters a few things. One, they can have whichever seat they want. Now, I look at you and I know the next question you're going to ask. So the initial sort of standpoint is they have no pressure from outside supporters. They get to go into the sale, not worry. They can pick any category, any seat. So specific seats, which I would assume the next question would be, you can select by calling Ticketmaster, which isn't the quickest thing to do. But if you want to select a specific seat, which is what sort of people who want to congregate around Block 109 want to do, and this is another reason why we set up the pre-sale for Travel Club members, so that we could get Travel Club members all sitting in clusters to create their atmosphere, which is something they asked for. You can call Ticketmaster and you can book your seat. So the question that I'm sure you have asked around drilling down to specific seats. So for clubs, it's kind of different. For clubs, you have most of the seats taken up by season ticket holders.
Yeah.
Therefore, let's just say 40,000 seats, 25,000 of those are season ticket holders. So you've only got a small number of seats to drill down to if you want to select as a member, which is doable on certain platforms. Yeah, there are 60,000 sort of general access seats on sale. So the system in place couldn't drill down to that many seats. We are always looking at upgrading sort of ticketing systems and things like that, and it's a lot longer process than you might like to think to sort of overhaul a ticketing system for the FA when you think we deal with not just football games but events and concerts and things. So what we have proposed and what we might do in the near future is to open up certain blocks within certain categories of, say, 500,000 tickets,
right,
to allow people to select specific seats. So that's sort of like an interim compromise, potentially. But yeah, at the moment, because of the sheer volume of tickets that would be available, there isn't a possibility to have a drill down function. Whereas clubs who would have, like, say, 10,000 tickets to do, it's quite easy for them. So I know QPR do it. Their stadium holds, I think, 19,000, and a lot of season ticket holders there. So it's a lot easier for obviously a small number of tickets.
And I think Twickenham do it as well.
I'm not sure.
It's only from what I've been told.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's similar size, but it's good to know that thoughts are in place to be able to do that, because I tend to sit, well, I guess, pretty much above where we're sitting now, and we always try and get front row.
Yeah. Best seats in the house, I think.
It's a cracking seat, upper tier, front row behind, or just to the right of the goal. But usually we'll get there or thereabouts, 2 or 3 rows behind.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for that one.
I would just say on that, I think obviously different different sporting venues and organisations will have different systems in place. But yeah, you say where you sit, literally just above the most expensive seats in the house, because they're just above the corporate boxes. So literally you're getting a corporate view for, well, I don't know how much it is, 40 odd quid, depending upon the game.
and also I actually see now, sitting below here, why the Block 109 banners are drawn up shortly before the game kicks off, because I always think it would be great to leave them as an intimidating atmosphere, but they will just hang perhaps a little bit too low for this view.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are a lot of reasons, obviously, why they can't hang. The wind being one of them.
Right. Yeah.
It is windy in here, but yeah, absolutely, it hangs below these seats. So, and again, one of the things they have asked is to have sort of permanent banners along the hoardings, like you see at some sort of clubs like United, Chelsea, Arsenal. So yeah, I mean, hopefully we can sort of help them sort of decorate Wembley and make it feel like a proper home.
Yeah. So sticking on tickets, you've mentioned the process of tickets. What what's the reasoning behind they go on sale so way in advance? Because I've already got my ticket for Bulgaria here. Kosovo recently went on sale down at Southampton, but that's 4.5 months.
There's always a multitude of reasons in deciding sort of sale dates, and it depends on a lot of factors, such as you've got quite a lot of clustered games coming up, so home and away. We've got the UEFA Nations League, and it's sort of, if we, again, not down entirely to ESTC, we do try and sort of build into that factor, but it's more a case of we don't want to have, I think, 2 games on at the same time, really, if you can avoid it, just because it's nice to have like a staggered approach to the sales. And also, I think you look at historically, Wembley hasn't always sold out. It is now, which is like amazing. It's fantastic. So I think the sort of the idea is that start early, leave it open for a longer period of time, let people come when they want. But recently, we've been opening up a sale and people have been gobbling up the tickets, which is just amazing. Like, it's a beautiful reaction to the World Cup, really, isn't it? So,
yeah. And you say about selling out, with Kosovo being changed to Southampton, is that because you or powers above decided that Kosovo wouldn't sell out? Or what was the process about? Who decides that?
So genuinely, that decision process is above me, to exact reasons why. But the reasons for taking games on the road is obviously to try and get different parts of the country involved. It's really easy for people, supporters of the travel club, to look at a game anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, and they're nailed on. They go, right, I know how to get there. I'm going to get there. I follow Chelsea home and away and across Europe, and it doesn't daunt me when there's a game elsewhere. But I think most of the people that come to Wembley, a large selection of people that come to Wembley, are people who are coming for the first time, or for maybe the second or third time. And so it's difficult for them, I think, to get to Wembley from outside London. So we're always trying to take more games on the road to try and bring in different people, different parts of the country. I mean, in terms of deciding a venue, it's a collective decision sort of made by various internal departments. There's so many checklists to go through. UEFA have to have a say. It's not as easy as just going, let's just go to Anfield. And so when these things get leaked as well, or supposedly leaked, it's always quite interesting, because people will phone us and email us and go, well, I've heard it's Southampton, why can't you just say it? But actually, it's like the contract hasn't been signed. UEFA haven't approved it yet. They've still got to do site visit checks. Right. There's still broadcast issues. Because even though we have got we've got many great stadia in the UK, and UEFA, I think, hold us to a slightly higher regard to other countries. So, for example, Montenegro hosted their game in their stadium, like a lovely little stadium, like really sort of old, proper stadium. Of course, we wouldn't be able to do it in the same stadium in the UK if that existed. I think they always actually ask us, I think UEFA always sort of say, act a little bit surprised when we try and take it away from Wembley.
Okay.
Because I think they think, you've got an amazing stadium here, why would you possibly want to do that? And obviously, the answer is to try and sort of take it to other parts of the country. I mean, it's beautiful when Wembley's being built, right? It went all around the country and people got involved.
Because I think the frustration with Southampton was, you mentioned the Montenegro game there, and it was almost supporters got a heads up of it was going to be in Southampton, and it became the worst kept secret until it was announced a month, 6 weeks later.
Yeah, I have no idea who leaks this information. Like, surely it must be internal. I don't know. I have no idea where it comes from. But it does happen. But yeah, I mean, it's just, like I said, even up until it was announced, it wouldn't have been 100% confirmed until maybe a few days or a week before it was announced, Like I said, like, we're always getting calls of people saying that, and it's kind of like, we've been sort of, bitten in the backside in the past where we've announced something ahead of contracts being signed. And
was that Thailand game?
It's before my time, yeah. And then it's become an issue where we've basically told people, this is happening, book your travel, book your And so I think it's sort of a slightly more cautious point of view. And some people do say, well, why don't you just say it's probably going to be in Southampton? But then it's kind of like, people, if you already think it probably will be there, it's really difficult for the FA to come out and say, we're probably going to be in Southampton, but don't book it just yet because we're not sure. Yeah, it'd be very odd. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly funny. I mean, some of the calls we get as soon as there's a sort of a leak in information, so as it were, people just go, "Oh, but my train travel," and it's brilliant, right? Because these people just want to go to the game. They want to get the cheapest deal, and I get that because I'm the same for Chelsea. I want cheapest train travel, I want cheapest flights, I want cheapest everything. Because these people spend a hell of a lot of money. Sometimes I don't know. You get people who go to every club game, every away game, every England game. It's amazing. It's
not something I could do.
No, I couldn't afford it. And football's very expensive these days, isn't it? So the commitment's incredible, and I get why people want that information as soon as possible. And we always try to, but only when it's 100%.
Yeah, of course. So do we know? You probably can't tell me this, but do we know if any other games are likely to be played on the road?
From as far as I'm aware, I think they are looking at another one within this campaign. I think before Euro 2020. I think, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure there will be another game on the road. Certainly,
there's no probable yet. It's just in the pipeline.
No, I think now. I think pre-Euro 2016 when we went to the Etihad and Sunderland, I think.
Yes.
For Turkey and
Australia, was it?
Yeah, before those games were a big success, and I think it was the first time we'd done an on-the-road game in a little while. And I think one of the things people maybe have a misconception of is like the FA is quite a bunch of old men in suits and stuff, but
I can confirm you're not.
Yeah, I'm not dressed smart.
Jeans and a shirt.
But it's I had the same conception before I started here, and it's just full of young people who genuinely love football, some more than others. So yeah, I mean it's kind of like everyone in and around the FA gets and understands why taking it on the road is important, and I think a lot of people in a lot of sort of positions of power will always want that. But like I said, there are so many different sort of a multitude of collective decisions that need to be made both internally and externally. That's not always possible, and I hope we'll get a few more on the road before Euro 2020. I suspect we will. I just no idea where.
Leave it for a surprise. So, I mean, the big thing coming up is the Nations League in Portugal. What's your process for that? What's been going on? What's coming up? How does that work?
So the UEFA Nations League has been a big, really interesting sort of thing for us because no one knew anything about it because it's new, right?
Yeah.
So we were going on the same sort of journey as the supporters, trying to figure out exactly what happens next. What happens if we win? What happens if we come top? And so it's now we're finally at the UEFA Nations League finals. So all very exciting. Really, to build up from that, it is like a mini tournament, but it's also kind of like 2 away games. So it's not quite a tournament. It's not quite an away game.
Right.
So it's really been similar to away games in that we organise. We have members of staff like my boss will go to the venues. We'll look at places for ticket collections, fan hubs, shuttle buses, which we're hoping to be able to put on. Organise the travel guide, all the information around that, security. Where the allocation and board line, the segregation lines are going to be. The sale of tickets, the distribution of that information, it involves a lot of to and fro with UEFA, and of course, a lot of information gets floated around, and a lot of stuff has to be signed off, and we can't communicate this, that, and the other without UEFA's approval. And on the actual ticket sale itself, we got allocated 9,000 general access tickets, which was amazing for both games. So we went on sale to Travel Club members, and basically. You probably don't remember, we tried to do a step-by-step process, pictures, everything, because it's a very complicated process. So in terms of registering for us and then having to re-register your details with UEFA, and that's just kind of, we have to follow UEFA's rules, right? If it was our sale, it wouldn't be a problem, same as the away game. But quite a lot of supporters, I say quite a lot, in the grand scheme of things it's not, but a section of supporters had sort of entered in information incorrectly for their sale. So they've put incorrect fan numbers, incorrect dates of birth, incorrect any information. So the sale data comes back to us, and we tried initially. UEFA stance is any incorrect information, that's it, all gone. And we do this for every tournament. We always end up having a discussion with them and saying, look, give us the sale data, we will analyse it, we'll contact those supporters who have put in incorrect information, we'll get them to correct it, we'll send it back to you. Don't cancel anything, because the last thing we want is, and again, we're not making money out of this because the sales are through UEFA, right? It's not like we're trying to salvage ticket money. It's, it happened in the Euros, my first tournament here, it happened in the World Cup, it happens again, it always happens. Yeah. I'm guilty of messing up applications, so I get it. But yeah, I mean, that actually was probably the hardest, the most fiddly bit of the whole organising of everything, because we kind of have ideas and we know how to sort of do this for certain away games and certain tournaments. We sort of, we're well vetted. When it comes to this, communicating to supporters that they've put in incorrect information, trying to get them to correct it, and then trying to make sure that they know that their tickets are okay, is quite stressful. But not a single order has been cancelled that they wouldn't have want cancelled in the first place. And that's really been a big part of this, obviously. And for me, it's really important. I feel like it'd be very easy for us to just go, they screwed it up, forget it, just cancel tickets, is fine. But yeah, I mean, we kind of do take it upon ourselves to try and make sure sort of, no man, woman, child left behind. And like I say, I'm Chelsea home and away, my boss is Liverpool home and away, my other colleague Lauren is Arsenal home and away. Like we all sort of love football, and we get what it is, how difficult it is being a supporter. So we do try and do our best to sort of rectify any of those issues.
Well, on behalf of England supporters, thank you for that. Do you have any contact with the other nations, Portugal, Holland, Switzerland?
Not Portugal at the moment.
As host?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we pick up contacts as we go. Yeah, like we have away games, we sort of meet our counterparts. We always try and host sort of fans matches, which is what I'm trying to organise now. I'm trying to organise a fans match, sort of like a mini tournament in between the two games. Okay. And so I think the Netherlands have actually pulled out because they're not taking enough supporters. I think they're only taking, I think 4,000 or 5,000 in total.
That's a surprise, considering in the past you see these large mass of orange.
Absolutely, yeah. I reckon. I mean, those are the numbers that we've been sort of given. I reckon you'll still see. 5,000 orange t-shirts looks amazing still, right? But yeah, I mean, we're hoping to get some kind of sort of fans match out there, be it with I suppose either Switzerland or Portugal. But yeah, so. We definitely have contact with them, and you make friends down the years, and you see them again and again, things like that. So
obviously, we buy our tickets to watch England, and for those that are lucky enough to go away, we get rewarded with 2 caps. There's a bone of contention, I guess, with many that a home game also is awarded 2 caps, which was changed 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it was 4.5 years ago.
Do you know what the reason behind that is?
So initially, I think from an ESTC perspective, I think it was 2 games, 2 caps for a home game and 1 for away, wasn't it, initially? I think that was one of the controversial acts, which didn't last very long, and rightly so. In terms of the number of caps awarded, it's always, like you say, a hot point of discussion and something that gets brought up in during sort of fans forum and things like that. So obviously, for me at Chelsea awards actually less caps as well for a lot of games for going. Not caps, loyalty points. If you're going to away for big away games because they feel like everyone wants to go, right? So and then for the lesser away games they offer more. I think you're always going to have a system whereby people are sort of unhappy, right? I mean, I think. And there's always a point of discussion, there's always debate. I actually kind of feel, from our point of view, we've got 2 home, 2 away. The reason that is because we have sort of bonus caps. So there's 1 to try and sort of...
As a renewal cap.
Yeah, renewal and bonus caps to try and... So if they're 2, that's 1 that sort of makes people uneven, if that makes sense. It's always something that we look at. Like I said, I think it was 2 for a home, 1 for away, and that got changed to 2 at home, 2 for away. Some people think there should be more for an away game, less for a home game. I mean, ultimately, we do have forums and we do try and take these on board. And when it comes to renewals, we always discuss it internally. But yeah, I mean, I don't see it changing for the next membership. But I would encourage anyone who has like a strong opinion on these sorts of things, who doesn't come to a forum, just literally drop us an email with your thoughts, but articulate them. Tell us what you think, because we read every email. Any email that has any suggestions towards it, we take on board. We have a separate file that logs things that we bring up for discussion when we talk about renewals, or we go to fans forums to bring up. So it's not like you have to sit there and talk about it in the pub and get angry at it. We all do, right? Everyone moans about their club. So if enough people ask, then generally that's what we're here for. At the moment, I think we're pretty comfortable in the way the system works, the loyalty system works, and the way that games are allocated. I think it's quite fair, especially in relation to other clubs and stuff like that. I think it's fair in Chelsea. Anyone who has any thoughts on it, drop an email, articulate your thoughts. If you've got 100 people that you think the same, tell us, because that's kind of what we're here for, to try and make sure that it's suited best possibly for the Channel Club members.
You mentioned fan forums there. Obviously, last year before the World Cup, you had a couple, one at Walsall and one at Leeds. Is there any plans to do any more in the future?
Yeah, always. So there'll definitely be ones in the build-up to Euro 2020. It's always something that I think people think is a great thing and loads of people will attend. But then sometimes we don't get the interest back. So we've had to cancel a few, like in Newcastle, I think one in the Midlands, where we advertised it didn't get enough interest. Yeah. And I think there's, we always try to organise these sorts of things, because it is important to try and engage with people outside London. And there's a couple of sort of post-World Cup sort of supporters groups popping up. So a gentleman called Leo Neal runs one in the Midlands. I don't know if you're familiar. And so Harpreet, my boss, heading the Sports Channel Club, she's heading up there. I think it's tomorrow, yeah. So she's going up to answer questions there. And it's kind of great if local supporters do that as well, because it's sort of, if they create a group. So he's created a group. He's told us he's got a lot of interest. He said that there's a lot of people that go, a lot of interest, a lot of interesting questions. And that's great, right? Because it's like that these are the people that are the most active and passionate people, because they're doing it off their own back. So we'll happily support that. We'll go up there, we'll answer questions. We'll talk to those people as well. But in terms of organising fans forums, we always look at it. We try and gauge areas we haven't been before as well. There'll definitely be something for Euro 2020. The London one will definitely happen because there's more people in London. It's easier, right? But I mean, if anyone sort of wants to gather up their mates and tell us that there'll be 50 people coming in an area to talk about it, then let us know. We'll try and get up there if we can. So,
with club sides playing in Europe on a regular basis, they're going to maybe similar places that England will go to. We're due to play Czech Republic, I'm guessing in Prague. Mm-hmm. Chelsea, I believe. You probably went, did you?
I didn't actually. No, I was saving the wallet on that one.
No, all right. Would you liaise with Chelsea to find out their experience of that ground and that surroundings?
Yes. I mean, Prague's obviously a little bit different because we don't know what the venue is at the moment. And again, I guess a point on that actually is that host nations have until 120 days before a fixture to tell us everything: ticket prices, allocation, everything. So we don't know what that is at the moment. But certainly, if we have a counterpart, within a club that's been there, sometimes it's not even as much as contacting them. It's looking at their communications, what they've said to supporters, maybe looking at what supporters were saying. But yeah, definitely we try and learn off of how other clubs have dealt with it, basically. But Chelsea, I mean, we did contact them and just asked them sort of a few questions about the away end and whatnot in case it is there. But yeah, I mean, nothing really crazy came out of that. Sort of fairly standard. But yeah, definitely, we always try and learn off of others, so we don't make the same mistakes.
Right, yeah. And we've got the Nations League coming up, but following that ever so shortly is the Women's World Cup. We know you as looking after the men's seniors game. Do you oversee the Lionesses? Have they got a similar organisation?
Yes, so kind of Lionesses have sort of really taken off in I'd say the last 2 years, I'd say. So initially, it was, trying to meet the demand of people who wanted to go to these games. We do look after them at the moment. We're looking after the ticketing side of things. So the Lionesses Supporters Club is launched, depending on when you listen to this. And you will be able to become a member, and that membership will build in a similar fashion to the England Supporters Club. So it is in its infancy at the moment, and so we're selling tickets for the Women's World Cup. If you want to go to France, it's dirt cheap, it's about £8 a ticket for all the games. I think we've got about 1,000 people going roughly for each game, give or take 100 or so, which is absolutely amazing. Like, to have 1,000 odd people in a block, in like because previously it would have been scattered, right? Whoever wanted to go. I think a big draw of obviously following your club is to be amongst the other supporters, right? And that's what the Lionesses Supporters Club is going to try and do, is to create that community that supports Lionesses and travels home and away. And to have that many people going over is fantastic. So at the moment we are obviously looking after that side of things, but I think as it grows and becomes bigger, then obviously I think there'll probably be a dedicated team potentially to sort of look after it, like being the sports club.
So is it going to be a busy summer for you, Portugal then France?
I'm not. I won't be in France unless sort of it goes a little bit crazy. We should maybe get to the final and loads of people want to come. My colleague Lauren will be looking after the sort of TCPs and ticket collection points for the Lionesses out in France, and myself and Harpreet will be doing that for the UEFA Nations League.
Are you in communication with the guys who do the Three Lions, the FSF?
Yeah, all the time. Love King Kev, great guy. But yeah, always. They do a really important. They play a really important role for England supporters, and we always talk with them about. We always find out where they're going to be. We always liaise with the FSF. You'll see at the ticket collection points, there's always 3 Lions sprawled across our desks. They keep coming in every sort of hour or so and dumping a sort of few hundred on there. But they offer an important role to supporters. They're sort of like the point of contact that I think people trust the most, because they're sort of independent from sort of us and from other football organisations. So if there's ever any other issues or anything ever happens or whatever, there's always a line of contact, and we have a good relationship with them. Have drinks with them when we're out there, so they're really great. Cool.
I think I've come to pretty much the end of what I wanted to initially say. Is there anything that you would want to add?
First of all, I listen to every episode, so you can't slag me off in a separate episode. No, honestly, I know, I think one of the main things that people kind of perceive of the FA and England Sports Club is we don't care, right? And it kind of, it always hurts me anyway when I read that, because it's really a lot more intrinsic and sort of the multitude of levels are so huge here trying to get work done, right? It's a big organisation, but everything, I like to think that most things that the supporters think and believe and want is what we also try and deliver from internally. Like I said, you've got 3 of us who absolutely love football, follow home and away. But whenever there's a grumbling about this, that, and the other, I 100% get it. But we always do try and do the best we can. And like I said earlier, I would encourage anybody who has any thoughts, constructive thoughts on how we run things, to just drop us an email, because, like I said, we read every one of them. We take things on board. Always open to new suggestions and interesting things. And we've learned a lot off of fans forums and even just people calling in. Someone will say something and it's oh yeah, that is a good point, and then that's it, sort of the wheels are in motion. We're not this closed off sort of unreachable sort of department within the FA that doesn't give a rat's ass. Call us, email us, contact us, talk to us at a ticket collection point. We're all lovely people, I promise. Especially my boss, if she's listening. But we're here to try and get it right and to make everything as good as possible, really. Because as soon as when I do eventually leave this post, I don't know when, I'll be I'll be a member. So, try and I'll be bugging them a lot. Trust me.
Well, I'd like to thank you for your time and giving us an insight into what it's like a day in the life of, as it were, and see it in a different light, because I always knew that you had sort of best interests at heart, but it's good to hear that and good to be able to pass it on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you. There we go. Thank you to Richard Weeks for his time and all at the England Supporters Club. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you found it informative. Do tell your friends about it. Thanks for listening. And if you like what you've heard, all 49 other episodes are available on the threelionspodcast.com or on your podcast provider. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. Please do come say hi. And whilst you're online going surfing, please do give us a thumbs up. I'll be back soon, as I say, with that Nations League and Lioness podcast. And I hope you can join me for those. In the meantime, cheers.